It's all in the Saturday press today. Tom Daley rolled his eyes at Kate Garraway. Who is Kate Garraway for saying she was flabbergasted? The clip did the rounds, and suddenly we're all meant to feel that a perfectly serviceable English word is now affected, poncy, suspicious. It's not. Flabbergasted is a stout old workhouse, jocular in register, yet exact in sense. Astonishment so complete it knocks the wind out of you. The earliest print citations, I believe, from looking in the articles today, arrived in the 1770s, like a portmanteau of flap or flabby with aghast. Its sound does half the work, for you can hear the intake of breath, the comic puff of the cheeks. It is onomatopoeia with elbows. Two quick matters of usage before the culture war arrives late and unprepared. First, the spelling. The H, which sits in aghast, is not in flabbergasted. And as somebody who liked Philip Pullman's ghasts in the Dark Materials trilogy, where you've got a phantom H and no G, no need to get into too much confusion, I suppose. But I tend to avoid the word simply because I can never remember whether I've got to put an H in. So the flabbergasted belongs to vivid journalese and lively speech, frankly. It's not Latinate, it's not arcane, it's not a crossword curio. It's a sort of word a Warrener might have used on finding a borough empty and the rent unpaid. What then really happened on the set of The Traitors? And again, the Traitors isn't something I particularly watched. I noted, I think its first series, while I was doing Panto in Epsom, and we shared a house. A number of us who were in the show shared a house, and there were quite a lot of people who were very keen on this show, and we raced home to watch it after a 3-show day, and I never quite managed to get hooked. Partly because after I watched a few minutes, I realised it was exactly the same formula as The Circle, and I suspected people were being fed lines, or at least prompted. And so it doesn't work for me because I know what goes on backstage, having been in that sort of reality TV thing. But you can ask what happened on set: a social reflex, dressed as taste, disdain for vocabulary. Well, that's a familiar British tick. We pretend we are defending the common touch when in fact we are performing inverse snobbery. Alan Carr's retort: you cannot condemn somebody for treachery merely because they have a better vocabulary, is a line of the week because it names the game. The issue is not elitism. The issue is whether we permit ourselves the tools of precision or surrender in a hamular little hook of suspicion that tugs us towards the lowest common denominator. Actually, I've read Tom Daley's memoir, and I think it's beautifully written, and that hook is powerful because it flatters our laziness, and I don't think Tom Daley is lazy at all. Here's an educational point. Attention has a half-life. Since the smartphone, our collective focus has suffered a steady decrescence. You can watch it on the page counts of set texts, on the thinning of headlines, on the hebetaceous haze that settles over any room the moment a notification pings. In such a climate, words that carry nuance feel like, a threat. And there's they are not. They are time-saving devices. The right word in a well-packed suitcase. And Pullman understood this. Philip Pullman understood this in his own register. He created these ghasts, which were much better than the dementors in J.K. Rowling. Those whispering residues in the amber spyglass who feed on fear and dwindle only once the dead are set free. I think both the ghasts and the dementors come from or are inspired by Ursula K. Le Guin's Nibuk, was it Nibuk or something? I can't remember, in The Wizard of Earthsea. Nebuk. And they're an allegory for language handled badly. Tattered meanings, half-remembered terms, scraps of feeling divorced from thought, divorced from reality. Clear speaking and exact words are Lyra's knife here. They cut windows for understanding, and once the air circulates, the ghasts go away. So, what do we do with our minor national psychodrama about flabbergasted? 3 rules of convivial English, I think. Rule 1, scale your diction to your audience, but never apologise for clarity. The test is not posh or plain, the test is accuracy. If flabbergasted names the shock of a friend's stage death in a melodramatic format, then use it. If a plainer stunned will do, use that. Elegance is economy, not austerity. Rule 2, reward curiosity. The polite move on hearing an unfamiliar word is not to sneer, it's to ask or quietly look it up. Every phone in the room is a lexicon, use it. Feigned incomprehension is not a moral stance, it's a costume for complacency. Rule 3, keep your toolbox mixed. A language is a living workshop. Saxon crunch for punch, French cadence for poise, Latin exactitude for law or medicine, Greek for philosophy and elegance. A healthy writer moves among these languages as a joiner among planes and chisels. A single tool culture produces wobbly furniture. And we are so blessed in English by having such richness. If you want to explore that richness further, you read Milton. Permit me, since we're playing with vocabulary, therefore, to give 3 demonstrative sentences. The hamular tug of fashion tried to hook us away from good words, but Kate's usage held. The image is anatomical, the hook-shaped process, but the meaning is simple. There is a tiny social reflex that catches and drags, and we should resist it. And if we use words, I often think that words, I like plain English, but I'm always tempted to use words as decoration. And I think that's fine. If I use a word as a purely decorative plug, it's not terribly important. Our standards have suffered a slow decrescence, not a dramatic collapse, which is why the repair begins with small daily acts of choice. Choose the right word, choose the book over the feed, choose the substance over the spectacle, and balance the sesquipedalian, the long words, with the short, pithy Anglo-Saxon punches. Nothing is more habitacious than the jeer that confuses learning with showing off. Dulling the appetite for words dulls the appetite for thought. If you want a less polysyllabic phrasing, mockery makes people stupid. It's worth saying a word for Tom Daley himself, who's been a generous public figure, an athlete of grit, a father, a campaigner, and a knitter of improbable discipline. He is not the villain of this piece. He is the weather vane. The gust that turned him came from us, and from a decade of nervy anti-intellectualism that wants television to be easy, speech to be frictionless, thought to arrive pre-chewed, and reality to be clear. And I think we should be kinder to Tom and harder on the draft. And if we must have a moral, let it be civic rather than scolding. English is a commons. It is tended, not policed. And the person who guards or minds the rabbits for the monarchs of years past, the warrener, knows you keep the population healthy by stewarding habitat, not by snares alone. So feed your ear with the unusual, with the arcane, with the esoteric. Read the people who pack meaning tightly and carry it lightly. Orwell for the broom, Austen for the eyebrow, Baldwin for the blade, Hilary Mantel for the long view, if you can manage to get through the first of her trilogy, the first bit of the what is that book? I can't remember now. I can't remember anyway. Her trilogy about Thomas Cromwell, the first part of the first book is a real struggle. But once you've got through that, it's great fun. And when a playful old word presents itself, take it for a walk. You don't have to look pretentious for using the mot juste. You look like a subject of His Majesty who cares that thought arrives in one piece, in one place, with one purpose. A final grace note for my confessed dislike of the word flabbergasted because of its unruly spelling. The joke writes itself. If the ghasts in Pullman's underworld are what remains when meaning drains away, then the extra H that I fear is a ghost letter, isn't it? It's a needless spectre haunting a cheerful term. Exorcism is simple. Keep a ghast's H, drop all others, and we all will be precisely flabbergasted at how quickly the anxiety goes away. So I don't think there should be any witch hunt for lively words, no eye rolls at ordinary precision, but I enjoyed Tom Daley's eye roll. I haven't seen the whole episode, but I saw the clip and all the eye roll was great fun. He knows how to command a screen, and for that I give him a lot of credit. And ask, learn, use, enjoy. And if someone winks across the round table while you reach for a juicy adjective, return the wink and press on. I think winking rather than disdain. The language is ours to keep in good repair.